Tonight, a civil war on Capitol Hill. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, says has erupted in the House of Representatives after more Democrats than Republicans voted to advance a Ukraine aid bill brought to the floor by Republican Speaker Mike Johnson. An outraged Greene is now urging other Republicans to join her effort to oust Johnson from office, accusing the speaker of making a secret deal with Democrats.
What has Mike Johnson made a deal to do? What has he promised he will give them in the future? And this is why we have to remove Mike Johnson from the speakership.
Melanie Zanona is out front on Capitol Hill. So there's now another House conservative, Congressman Paul Gosar, who is joining Marjorie Taylor Greene's effort to remove Johnson. Where do things stand tonight?
Yeah, well, Speaker Mike Johnson's job is in real jeopardy, and that is because he has had to rely on Democrats throughout every step of this process to advance these foreign aid bills, including on key procedural votes, which are almost always done along party lines. So that has really sparked a revolt on the right, and it also fueled new calls to oust him from the speakership. As you mentioned, a third Republican has now officially signed on to a motion to vacate the speakership, and meanwhile, other hardline conservatives are not yet willing to go that route, but they are making their anger at the speaker known. Take a listen.
It's tough to defend him right now, and that's hard to say, but it's just a reality.
I mean, for 5 months, we've done nothing but advance things with more Democrat votes than Republican votes.
I don't defend the performance of the speaker. I don't defend the actions that have been taken, including today. I think this is a terrible mistake.
Now, the House has already adjourned for the day, so the earliest that Marjorie Taylor Greene could potentially force a floor vote on this motion to vacate is tomorrow. That is also when the House is expected to vote and pass that package of foreign aid bills before they send them over to the Senate. But just given the simple math here, given that there's 3 Republicans on this resolution and that at this point, Johnson can only afford to lose 2 Republicans on party line votes, that means that he is going to have to rely on Democrats to potentially bail him out and save his speakership. Now, Democrats have not made any commitments just yet, but they have signaled some willingness to save him, and that is because they appreciate the fact that he was willing to defy his right flank, put this package of foreign aid bills on the floor, a package that does closely mirror the Senate-passed version. And there's also just some general concern, not just among Democrats, but also among Republicans about the chaos of a potential motion to vacate. But of course, around here in this Congress, nothing is guaranteed. So it's certainly something we're going to be watching out for in the coming days, Erica.
In some ways, it feels like the chaos is guaranteed, though, in this Congress, but maybe that's just me. Melody, appreciate it. Thank you. Out front now, former Republican Congressman Ken Buck of Colorado, who knows quite well about all of the chaos. He just retired, of course, from Congress before his term was over, saying the dysfunction was worse than he had ever seen in his more than 9 years in Washington. It's nice to have you back with us tonight, sir. Speaker Johnson relying on a majority of Democrats to help advance this Ukraine aid. The bipartisan coalition there, does that strengthen or weaken him?
Well, I think, this package of bills is popular with the American public. I think Mike Johnson's on the right side of history, and I think that Republicans and Democrats will rally around someone who is showing leadership on Capitol Hill. It is a rare commodity on Capitol Hill. Mike has the backbone to move forward with very important and controversial legislation. The vote should be to vote for or against this package, not to vote for or against the speaker if you don't like this package. That is not something that should be happening, and I think Mike survives.
So you think he survives? What about this coalition itself? Democrats, Marjorie Taylor Greene, as you just heard her saying, oh, there must be some deal with Democrats here. What did he give up for them? They may be expecting something in return. We know some Republicans want to punish Johnson, as we just heard, for reaching across the aisle. What about this bipartisan dynamic? Could it last?
Well, more than 180 Democrats signed a discharge petition trying to move this bill to the floor, these bills to the floor. So I'm not surprised at all about the coalition. I think the coalitions are based on the particular legislation that's going to the floor and not necessarily a standing coalition that some Republicans have with some Democrats. I think that bipartisanship used to be something that people celebrated. Now it's evidently a sign of weakness or some backroom deal. If Marjorie knows about a backroom deal, she should bring forth the evidence. If she has a recording or she was present when the deal was made or there's another witness present, it's all nonsense and it's all designed to get the American people riled up about something that isn't true.
Well, to that point, is it wishful thinking then that some of this bipartisanship, perhaps even some cooperation, which has also become a dirty word, it seems in Washington, could start to become more the norm? Could we actually see some legislation from this Congress?
Well, you're seeing legislation now. You're seeing Ukraine
right.
and Israel,
But beyond that, sorry.
the Pacific Rim. Yeah, I think before this, you saw legislation, you saw the appropriations bills pass. The government hasn't shut down as a result of Republicans having a very small majority. Again, because Mike has shown leadership. I wouldn't have voted for the appropriations bills because I think we need to reduce spending, and those bills increase spending. But Mike had the skill to bring together a coalition on that particular spending package and get it passed, just as he's done with this foreign aid package.
So as you said, you don't think he's going to be ousted from office. We're going to watch for that. I am curious. You were on this show. You called Greene Moscow Marjorie. The nickname seems to have really taken off, and her anti-Ukraine rhetoric is also getting a lot of attention on Russian state TV. I'm not sure how much of this you've seen, but I want to show you a little bit now.
Тут вопрос не в Джонсоне, Конгрессом руководит не спикер Джонсон.
The issue is not with Johnson. Speaker Johnson is not the one who's running Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene is running Congress. Everyone is afraid of her.
Выйти из альянса призывает Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is proposing for the U.S. to withdraw from NATO. She believes that Americans should help Putin win.
Quite the statements there on Russian state TV. What do you make of that?
Well, Moscow Marjorie has reached a new low. You know, during the Russian Revolution, Lenin talked about American journalists who were writing glowing reports about Russia at the time as useful idiots. And I don't even think that Marjorie reaches that level of being a useful idiot here. She is just mouthing the Russian propaganda and really hurting American foreign policy in the process. She's acting completely irresponsibly. And again, when history looks at this period of time, Russia invaded Ukraine. Ukraine is fighting for its freedom, and we should be with the freedom fighters in this war.
Congressman Ken Buck, appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.